All right, this week we're here at Krokhol Disc Golf, #1 course on UDisc, definitely #1 course on my list. What's it on yours?
Yeah, ranked really high for me as well.
All right, I love this course, really gonna be fun. Got Annika Steen, she's gonna show you the FPO course. I'm gonna show you the MPO course. Let's do it. All right, hole one, we got 133 meters, 436 feet, uphill onto a peninsula green. This hole is very tricky, you got a lot of variables. You got OB left, slope to the right, so if you miss your shot at all right side, it's gonna be just a layup for par, which is not the worst thing because this hole is hard to stick the green because you're having to throw a driver. As you see, it's 430. It plays more like 440, 450 because you're going uphill and your disc is flying uphill. It's going to not want to travel as far. So I like to throw kind of what I call a aggressive kind of layup. I'm just trying to throw it just right of that bushy tree into the hill and take myself like probably 40, 50 foot putt, something like that. Or throw it too high and park it.
That works too.
That works too.
Just like that.
I was actually supposed to be a little lower, so I'm going to try one more. I'm actually trying to throw it just a little, because if you throw it, the higher you throw it, the more of a chance it has to go OB. Obviously, that shot was great, but I like to throw it low, just because if I throw it low, it hits the hill and stops. It's not going to have a chance to skip, but this one's going to be a little flippier, so it should be a little lower. Like I said, a little bit lower, but it's just going to be a par. So, I mean, that's kind of what happens if you throw it too far right. Just kind of everything just feeds off to the right-hand side, which is not the end of the world. You don't want to start off with a bogey. Last year, I think this is the only hole I bogeyed, so it shows you how tricky it is. Let's show you the FPO hole.
So we're on the FPO hole one. I don't do the feet. Well, I can say it. 364 feet, 111 meters. For me as a lefty, the depth will be to go like early on the left because there's OB all the way there. So I'm just aiming at the big tree in the middle, and I'd rather just fade off a bit to the right instead. I'll try to do the Athena. That's definitely short, but honestly with the new pin position, I'm not sure if I've ever reached it. I mean, to take a par in the first hole, it's okay. More like that.
Nice. That was a good shot.
And that's okay.
Yeah. So a lot of the holes, obviously, as you see, this hole is pretty much all the same set of variables as Annika explained on this left-hand side. She has to deal with the OB and she still has to deal with the slope. So it's essentially the exact same shot. It's not much different. They're dealing with a lot of the same variables. And so I think that obviously her being a lefty, you'll see a little bit different of a technique that she's going with.
For sure, yeah.
And, but obviously very similar. She wants to fade off to this right-hand side. That's the safe side to be on. You're not going to get a bogey more than likely, and you start your round off clean.
So since I'm on the right side here, I have no clue at the moment because I can't see the basket, and it's quite like a tricky upshot from here, and that's kind of also why I want to practice from this position, because most likely I'll be here actually. Straight uphill, is that something?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
That's parked, yeah. All right, so as Annika just threw the upshot, the closer you are to the hill, the actually kind of worse it is because you can't see the basket. You're throwing just straight up without being able to see it. So that's what makes this hole pretty tough. Really good, challenging par 3 to start. I think it's one of the hardest par 3s to birdie, I would say, just because of the tiered green and everything. My first one is parked, but I do like to practice the upshot from down the hill because that's very likely where you're going to land. But yeah, thanks for watching hole 1. Let's head over to hole 2. All right, hole 2, we have 202 meters, 663 feet. We got an uphill par 4. We have a landing zone that's kind of on a side slope. If you don't throw it far enough and you throw it too low, you're gonna hit the side slope. And it's a tricky shot because if you throw it too high, it likes to fade off to the left because you're going a lot more uphill, nose up than you think from this tee pad. And we do have a left to right wind, so it's gonna kind of counter the fact that disc's gonna be more stable. The wind's gonna wanna turn it. So this hole is all about disc choice. If you throw the right stability, and the right height, it's gonna be a good shot. If you throw it too low, you're gonna hit that landing zone or hit short, and it's gonna be a really hard upshot into the green. So really about the height and the line. I like to use this left side tree as my starting point, knowing that if I throw a flippy enough disc, it's gonna wanna turn. So I'm gonna throw venom at that tree to try to let it turn. So that's, hopefully it gets over that hill. Okay, looks like I just barely cleared the hill. So as you saw on that one, I just cleared the hill. If I would've hit a foot short, I would've been like, I would have lost like 100 feet, which makes that upshot a lot percentage difference that I'm gonna get up and down from there. So one more, try to throw a little bit higher. So that one I threw it higher and it's gonna fade probably into the woods. So yeah, that's the difference between those two shots. Very minute little difference, nose up versus a little bit nose down. We'll skid up there and see where I can land from the upshot.
Hole 2 FPO layout, it's 144 meters, 472 feet. For me as a lefty, if there's no wind, I like to go the turnover with a cicada or something. But I do, of course, have the option to just go with a sidearm. I prefer to bite off most of the length on the first shot, so it's easier for the upshot, because I think that's what usually gets to me on this hole. So I'll try the backhand first, and I'm just like aiming straight and letting it turn like that.
Nice, that's a good spot.
Yeah, I think that's okay. I'll just do the sidearm as well. That's not coming back. That might be OB actually.
It's close. Yeah, you're safe, but
Yeah.
on the edge, yeah. These trees make it tough, huh? All right, here's my shot. I did throw it a little bit low, so I probably didn't get as much skip as I normally would if I throw it a little higher, which is okay. It's always good to practice from some different spots. And this shot looks like we have about 300 feet uphill. It's gonna play a little bit longer, once again, because our disc is flying nose up, uphill. So let's try, I'm gonna probably throw a zone here. Just throw this right-hand side, just right of the bush, and just probably hopefully almost over top of it, just barely right of it. So that might be a little bit left. So there is a slope up there. I'm gonna try one more shot. That one's probably gonna be down the slope. So there is a side slope where the forehand probably is the better shot, just because you're gonna be fading into the slope. The backhand, you're gonna be fading away from it, and that one's gonna feed away from the basket. So I'm gonna try to throw this one a little bit wider to counter that. Looks like I got the same result. We'll see if they get up there and where they are. But that one should be all right.
I think so too.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. You'll see the slope up there. Anniken's gonna have a good second shot in here with her lefty. It should be good for this green.
Okay, here as lefty, I'm happy that I'm just gonna go with the backhand. I'll probably just go with a Deco X like a putter. I'm actually not sure about the distance here. I think we're like, oh yeah, close to 50 meters left. But
Probably
it's still a bit uphill. So I might throw with a bit of nose up, even though, no, I think that's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
No, that was a good shot.
Yeah. Okay, it's a putter distance.
All right, so we are down here to this left-hand side. I normally do like to throw forehand on this upshot. I just tried to backhand today. But yeah, as you can see, kind of everything wants to feed. Anniken threw the lefty, so the spin's a little bit different and wanted to stick up there. I probably landed up there and just skipped because of the right-hand spin. So I'm gonna take a couple putts from down here, as this is a high potential that you can land up here.
Yeah, I feel like most people land down there.
Yeah, this is a very common landing zone. So, yeah.
It's really subtle. Shout out to the artist, Peter Lunde.
Seeger commercial, we'll never forget it. That's where it happened, huh?
Yeah, that's why we're all laughing at that commercial.
Unforgettable.
Whatever, just an I in the end.
Sharpie it off.
Have to switch. It looks like,
Yeah.
like one of those Nintendo Wii characters. Ja, där ja.
I know, yeah. Draw their face. So I can't even laugh. All right, we got hole 3, 95 meters, 312 feet. Dead straight gauntlet shot, left to right, and you're pretty much donezo. We do have a middle tree that kind of separates a left and right gap, but most people are just gonna go down this left side gap. I think death is when a lot of people turn it over, hit or bounce early left. That's when you're pretty much auto bogey, maybe double. So I'm gonna throw a zone just because if I hit this gap pure, it's easy to go long if I throw like a mid-range, like a buzz or something. So I'm gonna go zone just on this left-hand side, try to drag it. into the gap. So I turned it and got the death kick. I'm gonna try one more. It's kind of how this hole is. If you're off at all, you're gonna get crazy kick and have to scramble. The reaction, the ground play, all that stuff kind of working against you.
You can definitely get a lost disc too.
There we go, that's way better. All right, so that one's much better. Hit the gap. That one, you know, I just hit the gap and the first one I didn't, so that's the difference. You know, I might not even get a par from there, so we'll see. I'm gonna go up there and try to scramble for par.
We're on the FPO tee pad on hole 3, 69 meters, 226 feet. For me, as a lefty, I prefer to go with a sidearm here. I basically prefer sidearm whenever there's such a tight gap that we're hitting like this. So you always, like, you just go with the backhand either how, but.
Yeah, I mean, either way, but I totally see it because the forehand, you're looking kind of at where you're going.
Yeah.
So I think that's.
So I'm
big.
just gonna try with my Athena right here. And that's also something that can happen.
It is.
I'm gonna go again. That looks better.
Yeah.
And I'm actually fine if
Yep.
it hits something on the right side, because it's still doable to get a par. Anything right is okay, anything left is just like big no-go.
All right, so I just grabbed my disc, the first one that kicked way right. As you can see, not much to work with. As Anakin said, left or right and you're pretty much toast. So you definitely want to hit the gap on this hole. Don't want to go off the fairway. And if you do, it's probably a bogey. It was downtown, but that place is crazy. There's like bikers and cars everywhere. I almost got hit like 3 times.
Wait,
Yeah.
were you walking
Yeah.
in Paris?
Oh
or
yeah, I
you
was
just, like-
walking.
yeah.
Oh my, I literally walked out of the train station, almost got hit by a biker, scooter, motorcycle, like within 5 minutes. I almost got hit 3 times. I was
Oh
like,
my God.
it's the craziest place I've ever walked around.
But it's beautiful though.
It is really
Oh,
cool, yeah, it is
I
awesome.
love that place. I'd rather not just blast it, because anything like, it's pretty steep behind a basket. Just like that. Yeah, that's gonna be a hard putt.
That was more the wind though.
Yeah.
You guys can see this green is pretty treacherous, and when you're on her side, you have a headwind, so any sort of miss is just gonna wanna lift up. Makes it tricky for sure. Here's my drive right here, the second one, the zone that I made the adjustment on. But either way, no matter which way you're putting from this basket, you would like to be putting on this right side, putting this way, but it doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes you can get a bad lift, bad roll, but it's a really good hole. Tough, challenging par 3. It's all about the drive. You don't get a good drive, you're gonna be scrambling for par or bogey. Sometimes worse if you get a bad kick. We got hole 4, it's a par 3, 148 meters and 486 feet. Flex shot through in the tight narrow gap. They have the OB running this right-hand side. It looks like it's a little bit tighter than last year, so they're making this course a little bit more tricky. I'm gonna go with a Raptor. This whole play is probably about, I would say 80 to almost 100 feet shorter, just because of the downhill grade. Your disc, it's all about hitting the line. Hit the right line and right angle, and you'll get the distance. So I'm gonna throw a flex shot, start it over the OB with something overstable, let it hopefully turn out of the gap and flex back. Oh, that was super lucky. I got lucky, but it looks like it's gonna work out.
Yeah, that's.
All right, that was in the wood chips, but didn't necessarily hit the gap. So as you saw, I went left of this guardian tree. I'm gonna try to throw one through this right side gap. And that's kind of the tricky part about this hole, is it's easy to want to pull it left because you have this tree right in front of you. It makes you visually want to throw it a little bit wide. So I like to counter that with my angle of my run up. This first one, I angled myself this way, so I threw it a little bit more left, whereas if I turn my angle this way, I'm gonna be more angled to the gap that I want to hit. So that's kind of something that I could do differently, which is exactly what I did that time. So that one was a much better line. I actually hit the gap and inside the circle. So yeah, just the difference of your running up a certain direction. The first one, a little bit too far left, made the adjustment on the second one, threw it down the gap.
Welcome to hole 4, FPO, 117 meters, 384 feet. Yeah, I think they, like you said, they've tightened the OB lines.
Seems like it.
But it's way more open than the MPO hole. And I, as lefty, go obviously sidearm. I don't see any reason why I should go, like, try to. I feel like I almost would have had to, like, hyzer flip something and then glide. And yeah, I just feel like the sidearm would be way easier to do here. Gonna see. That's too tight. I really don't want to go too tight here because it's kind of tricky if you land on the left side. There's a lot of trees, but of course, obviously, I don't either want to go all the way out OB, which that should fade back.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that should be fine. And I have a really long putt, but also taking a par for me here is okay. So what I'm used to playing here is like we have way more wind usually. This is so calm, so nice. I feel like we almost always have the wind coming from right to left here. So it immediately turns into a harder hole than what it looks. Like I said, I do have a really long putt here, right outside C2, but there's nothing scary about trying to run this at all. Can it go in?
Oh!
Close enough, close, really close.
Nothing scary at all when you hit the basket.
Not scared.
Nice. All right, so both my Raptors made it inside the circle. As you can see, if you hit the gap with the right angle like I did, you're gonna get down here for a putt. So that's kind of the important part on this hole. Is just making sure you get down there, get the right angle. The distance will come, and like I said, it's 480 feet, but it does play a lot shorter just because of the downhill. And kind of same thing for Anniken's shot. She's just trying to hit that angle, right line, right disc, and she's gonna have an open putt. And a worst case scenario, have a par. You don't want to make it any worse and have a chance for a bogey. So that's where all this course management that we talk about comes into play. And you want to make sure to execute during the tournament. All right, we got hole 5, 175 meters, 570 feet, and we got the same tee. So we have the same hole, left to right finish. We have the right side tree, OB on the left-hand side. You don't want to bite off too much, I think. I think that's the most important thing is that left side OB, but you have the trees on the right. So it's kind of a tricky shot. You want to make sure to go over the OB, far enough past it, but also in between the wood line on the right-hand side. So pretty tricky shot. Throw some forehands. I'm sure Anniken's going to throw the backhand, show you the way. All right, so as I said, I'm going to be throwing forehand a little bit. Then you can't see the landing zone. So on a hole like this, I know it's like 45 degrees that way. So I'm throwing out high and wide, and the higher I can throw it, the more it's going to come back and fade to the right. So I want to make sure to give it some height so it has that time and distance to fade back to the right-hand side. Something like that. It might be a little wide, but it should be all right. Did that go back safe?
So.
First one is safe. I'm going to try the similar shot on the second one. Just throw it a little bit higher so I don't flirt with that OB as much as I did on that first shot. There we go. That one's a little bit better. Not going to have a chance to go OB.
That should be fine.
Yeah. So that one should be in the open. No chance to go OB, and pretty good chance to get a birdie.
So as a lefty, I'm going with a backhand. I'm trying to aim like a bit high on the trees, like in the middle up there. And basically just because I don't want to go too low and just end up in the OB straight. I want it to fade back to the right. And I think that actually is too wide for me. That's probably, yeah, I would rather go.
You're safe, but barely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you came back safe, but
like
you flirted with the OB.
one.
A little higher,
Push
maybe?
the right side a bit more.
Okay.
And higher.
There you
Well,
go.
That's
way better.
better.
Yep, good shot.
Yeah.
No chance to go OB on that one.
Nope.
Yeah. All right, so me and Anniken are Seeger teammates. So we have a funny story. She actually, she sent me my first Seeger bag. So that was out of her personal stash, so that was super cool. Started me off with my first Seeger bag, so that was awesome. Super awesome to be teammates and represent an awesome company from here in Norway. So they're a local company, and it's very fitting to have you come play a practice round on the channel. So very, very thankful to have you here in Norway. And thanks to Seeger as well, supporting you.
Big thank you.
Yep, and supporting me and supporting disc golf. So we're glad to have them in our sport and making amazing bags that we can rock out there on the course. So thanks to Seeger. Let's have a good week in Norway.
Yes. Okay, so from here you see that the green is elevated towards the basket. So, but I also don't want to go too far because there's a drop right behind the basket. You kind of want to land on there's like one floor and then the second floor. I want to skip right before the second floor and just like skip towards the basket to have a look for a 3.
Nice. Good shot. That's
yeah,
perfect.
just get the skip towards the basket like that.
Good shot.
Thank you.
That was nice. All right, so Anniken basically showed you guys exactly how to play the hole. She kept it nice and low. She had good speed, she had good angle, and so she didn't really have a chance for this slope to really play a factor. So that's pretty much something I'm trying to do, is keep it low like Anniken did, and have good speed control coming into the green. I'm gonna throw this zone here and try to end a little bit left of the basket, because I know everything's gonna feed back to the right. Oh, that one's too wide, pulled it. So I think it's safe, but it's gonna be kind of a death putt. I'm gonna throw one more, try to throw a little bit better line here. There we go, that's better. So that one's better, should be something, yeah, comparable. Yeah. Skipped up there on the, like what Anniken said, that second shelf that got on top of that and skipped up for a putt. The first one should be safe, just a little bit wide. Oh, let's go up there and show you the green. All right, so my second shot that I gauged better after I made the mistake. Anniken threw it good on the first shot. So yeah, but as you can see, the slope of this green, everything wants to fade back, so you have to control the speed and the angle. If you lose control at all, it's gonna wanna skip and feed back down to this right-hand side. Looks like she's throwing Athena. Yep. Good choice.
Shut up.
All right, hole 6, we got 100 meters, 328 feet, par 3, dogleg to the right. You're seeing a lot of forehands, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. The thing about this hole being this far tucked in around the corner is you gotta throw it pretty high. The higher you throw it, the more of a chance it has to fade back to the right. If you throw it low, you're gonna run into the hill, and they have a side slope up there. So you gotta be aware of that and be able to throw over top of it. And the starting point of your shot is the most important when you wanna get over a slope like what's up on this hole. So throw Raptor, throw it nice and high, and yeah, once again, this hole is pretty tucked back far right. So I'm kinda contend with this right side tree to be able to get back far enough to the right of the basket. So just like that, that should be good. See if the skip up there. Yeah, so that looks like it's good. That probably skipped to about 20 feet or so. And as you can see, I kept it nice and high and gave it that time to glide. I'm gonna throw one more, hopefully the same. Yep, a little bit tighter. Got a skip, I didn't really, so that one's a little bit short. So I didn't get quite enough glide. I got the right height, just didn't get quite enough glide. Got the line right, just didn't get the speed right. Should be about 45, 50 short.
FPO hole 6, we got 77 meters. We have a way straighter shot than from the MPO, and we still want to go kind of high since we will run into the hill. I am aiming like in the middle somewhere and just trying to let it fade out towards the basket. I definitely don't want to go too far because again, there's a drop right behind the basket. I feel like that's the common thing here. And I think that might be a putt actually. Yeah. I'm gonna have one more to go a bit straighter to see how that works, but
yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, I think that's
the
well,
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fine too.
Good shot.
Thanks.
Yeah, even if you hit those limbs, you're still putting right there.
Yeah, that's true.
Your first one's parked.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, okay. And your second one's pretty much parked
right
too.
there, yeah, still a putt.
So as you can see, Anniken threw 2 really good shots. She, you know, she gauged the distance perfectly, like she was talking about from the tee. If you go too long, you definitely go down a slope that who knows, you know, 80, 100 feet down the hill.
Never stops.
My first one is good as well. But yeah, that's really the biggest thing on this hole. The variable is the green. I'm close, but I have a tree kind of in my way, which makes it super tricky. But yeah, this hole is really fun. It's fun until you go down the hill. Then it's not so fun. If you go down the hill on your drive or your putt, it's not as much fun.
Yeah.
Nice.
But luckily none of us are heading down there today.
Yeah, yeah, like, thankfully. All right, hole 7, we got 193 meters, 633 feet, par 4, pretty much dead straight, a little bit of dogleg to the right. I like to use this rock in the front of the fairway here. I like it to be just right of that. So I know if I'm just pin high to the right, that's kind of my ideal landing zone. I can throw a backhand, I can throw a forehand. There's a lot I can do from there. So I know that rock is my visual to try to get just there or even just short of there. And that's kind of my, my sweet spot. So first I'm gonna throw a mid-range just to kind of get a feel for the hole, and then we'll go from there. So that one's a little bit more left than I wanted, but should be good. I'm gonna try one more. So this one's gonna be a Athena, like Anniken's been throwing a bunch. And I'm gonna try to turn it a little bit more to the right-hand side. That one's a little bit too low, but it should be the right line. Yeah, so not horrible from there. I'm gonna actually do a third shot, try the forehand, and see where the forehand can go. Okay, that one's good. That's kind of right where I'm trying to land with those first two, is just right side of that rock. That's pretty much the exact spot I'm trying to land. Gives me a flat run up, gives me a good line, a good angle to have a high percentage birdie look.
All right, hole 7, we got 142 meters, 466 feet. From here you can see we have quite a different angle. For a righty, those who has the sidearm, they'll probably do that. And you don't really need to bite off a lot of distance on the first shot. You want to land on where it's most flat up there. That's kind of what Ricky said, like to the right of the stone on the top. I'm gonna go, I tried to aim a bit higher so I don't go straight, because again on this hole 7 there's drop on the left side all the way.
That looks perfect.
I think that should be okay.
Yeah. Good shot.
That's it.
Pretty much perfect. That's all you need after that. All right, so here's my drive. Anniken's just in front of me, probably in a similar spot. As we talked about, this stone is a very good visual. Gives you something to shoot for. The second shot, everything on the right-hand side, there's a big slope. So kind of, you have a little bit more room for air to kind of fade to the right-hand side and hit the hill and stop. The left-hand side is pretty much a no-go. If you go down there, you're gonna be rolling and may not find your disc ever again. So with those zone, try to favor this right-hand side or just go straight at the pin. A little bit too low on that, but should be up there. We'll see if it hits the hill on that right-hand side, if it gets a skip. I'm gonna throw this one a little bit higher and really try to, we got a right to left wind here, so everything's gonna wanna push a little bit straighter than it normally would. So I'm using that right-hand side on that slope. That should be all right. Should be about 30 feet to the right or so, something like that. And we'll get up there and I'll show you the side slope. Oh yeah, yours is great.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That was nice.
That was farther than what I
Crushed
thought
that.
as well. From here is like 50 meters left. I can actually see the basket from here, which is really great. And again, I rather want to fade off to like the little ditch on the right side, because we know everything will stop there. So I'm just gonna put it straight and then let it fade off.
Good shot.
Yeah, and that should be a putt.
Yeah, 20 footer or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what, I like the European style for sure.
Yeah.
The European courses are fun. Yeah, there's more shot shaping,
Yeah.
you know. I think in the States it's more like you just bomb, what we call bomb and gouge golf, where you just bomb and, you know, throw an upshot. Here it's like you have to shape a shot.
Exactly.
You know. Looks like we got the zone's the upshot on this hole. We got 3 zones sitting on this right-hand side. And as you can see, this right-hand side is the side to favor. You can go 5 feet to the left, 10 feet left of the basket, you're down the hill. But you have 30, 40, 50 feet to the right, and you have a more open look. So that's definitely the play, is to favor this right-hand side here. And give yourself a easier putt from here. So, yeah, gotta get the birdie. Anniken's gonna show you the birdie as well.
Okay.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. Okay, let's see. This is definitely like a putt where you need your mental game to be on point.
Oh,
Well,
or the basket.
It was on point, I
You
promise.
need the basket to be on
Yeah.
point too, though. All right, we got hole 8, 241 meters, 791 feet. This is a tricky par 4. We got a tight, narrow gap right off the gate. We have the white tree on the left-hand side. That indicates the left side fairway. And then you have a bunch of trees on the right. So it's kind of an off-centered 45-degree angle left. Hitting the wood chips and just barely getting on top of that hill is a good play as well. I like to try to glide up over the hill and try to fade a little bit left. Try to bite off a little bit more, because it is a tricky shot. So on a tough par 4 like this, I like to be aggressive off the tee And then if I don't execute my shot, I can tone it down and play for par from there. But if I don't be aggressive off the tee, then it kind of takes me out of the chance for getting a birdie. So I like to just go just right of that white tree. Just like that. Should skip on top of the wood chips. Just like that. That's pretty much ideal. So I'm gonna throw one more. Try to throw it a little bit higher. That shot was pretty much ideal. I just didn't get as much distance because I hit the upslope, and I hit the upslope and didn't really get a forward skip. To whereas if I fly over the upslope, I can get a little bit more distance over top of that hill. That one's too far left. So first one's good. That one's gonna be probably just a layup for par more than likely. So yeah, that's the kind of name of the game on this hole. Is you throw a good shot, you can get a birdie look. If not, you're just scrambling for par from there. And you just gotta make that adjustment once you get up to your drive and see what spot you land in.
Hole 8 FPO layout is 219 meters, which is 719 feet for us. We actually play this as a par 5. I know the MPO plays as a par 4, and we have a way straighter gap than what the guys has. You kind of just want to go as far into the gap as possible for then to have a better look at maybe an eagle opportunity actually on this hole. So I'm basically just aiming straight at the red flag in the middle. And then...
That's all right.
Okay, yeah.
Still
we
fairway.
can work from there. That's fine.
I got my drive here. I threw it just next to this rock. This is a very, it's a decent spot to land. For me, I want to get a little bit further past it. But like I said, I did hit the upslope, killed my speed. It took me to here, still in the fairway, still have a chance for birdie, which is super important on this tricky, challenging hole. Now this next shot's a forced flex shot around these right side trees and then fade back late at about 400 feet, something like that. And the entrance into the green is just short of those flags, so that's a good indicator. Trying to throw a shot just short of those flags, fade back, and try to give myself a circle's edge putt would be ideal. Obviously better if I throw it better, yeah, try to get a circle to circle 1.5 putt would be good. And I'm gonna throw a raptor. Oh, slipped on my disc.
That's a foot.
Might be all right. Oh no, bad footing, bad footwork. I'm gonna throw one more here. Foot faulted on that one. Let's see here.
I wouldn't call him. I wouldn't call. I didn't see it.
Right. Oh, I appreciate that. But all right. So I'm gonna throw another one. Hopefully not step on my disc and kill my power. But same thing, raptor on this shot. And once again, just a forced flex. I'm trying to go just around these right side trees and then fade back really late. Too low. That one's a good line, just a little bit too low. I mean, both those are okay. I'm gonna be able to probably save a par from there. I think that second one, that right-hand side, opens up the second shot or the third shot to get up and down for par, makes it a little bit easier. If you be over aggressive and hyzer off too far early left, you can get in a tough spot where you can get a bogey. So very good par 4, hardest hole on the course, I think, is what was said based on 2 par, and for very good reason. Tricky hole, but very fair and challenging.
So from my position here, I know that the eagle is definitely not in play. Right from here, I'd rather just go straight and fade off to the right side to have a better angle to get down to the basket. Definitely want to push the distance here as well.
Yeah, good shot. You're on that right-hand side.
Past the OB,
yep.
And should have like a decent side arm into the basket.
All right, I'm gonna throw a shot from back here because this is a very realistic spot. If you throw too low, or if you want to play for par, you can definitely go here. And so it's good to always practice from areas where you think you might land. That one's not a good putt. I'm gonna try one more. Just kind of got a nice headwind now as well. So there's a lot of. That one should be skip up right to the basket. So yeah, I mean, even a short putt like that, you gotta practice the up and down from there just so you know how it feels.
Yeah, and I definitely want to be closer to where you're landed, because from here, I feel like a bit pinched off somehow. Yeah. I'm aiming right before the slope, so I can just get a small skip downwards. Let's see if that works. Well, that's too early. I'm gonna go again, be sure. Like
there you
that,
go. That's
and then
good.
just get the skip,
Oh, yeah.
and hopefully
Nice
it will
shot.
land and be somewhere close to the basket.
So you can see this green, really tough. You got these trees and the rock short, and then you also have the downslope past the basket, which is easy to run too far or throw a shot down there. And then you have a tricky little uphill putt. A lot of tough variables. You got the drive, you got the second shot. Even the third shot or the putt is challenging, so that's why it's the hardest hole out here at Krokhol, for good reason. It's got a lot of challenge.
Hole 9. It's a par 3, 85 meters and 279 feet. Uphill, quite a tight gap. And yeah, what are you doing here?
Yeah, we have the side slope, like Anniken said, left to right slope here. We have, you know, like she said, pretty tight, narrow gap. We have a set of trees on the right-hand short side of the basket. So kind of the open area is kind of long and to the left. But I like to throw a shot kind of into that slope and kind of skip up to the basket. But like Anniken said, really just hitting the gap, getting through there cleanly is the number one thing that I'm thinking about. I'm gonna go with the zone, try to throw it. You can't get you're going uphill, but you can't throw it too high because the limbs restrict you. So that's what makes this hole kind of tricky. Oh, that'd be a shank. Try to shank. I'm gonna try one more.
Par 4.
Yeah, it turned into a par 4 from there for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna try to throw a zone, hit the gap on this one. There we go, that's better. So I'm gonna hit the slope and hopefully skip up to it. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do right there. That should be about a 20 footer. Big difference on the first and the second one. First one's a bogey, second one's a birdie.
Here, like my main goal is to hit the gap. I don't want to go with the backhand because of the slope like we talked about. So I'm gonna go sidearm and try to just aim at the hill and, like you said, get like the skip maybe towards the basket. And
Ooh,
that's
close.
close enough. I'm gonna have one more. I don't want to flex it, but
Yeah.
I'm just gonna try to go a bit more to the left here. Get a straighter gap.
There you go. That's
Better.
good. Should skip nice.
And then skip.
Yeah.
And then
It's a good
I
shot.
have a long putt. We're back to the
Two of
sidearm
them?
Athena.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
All right, so we're inside C2 and still an uphill putt with elevated basket. So it's not like I'm not like thinking that this is a gimme birdie at all, but at least it should be an easy par.
All right, so here's my second one. Hit the slope like Anniken did as well and played it pretty well. Landed on this top shelf. Kind of the goal here on this hole is to make sure you can land on this top shelf and give yourself that chance for a putt. So yeah, if you hit the gap, if you hit the slope, it'll kill the speed and really not allow you to go too far if you hit because that's why I like hitting this hill. It kills the speed and just kind of stops you right at this circle's edge, 25, 30 foot range. Gives you a good chance for bird. All right, guys, that's the front nine out here at Krokhol with Anniken. Thank you for showing us all the FPOTs. It's been fun. Now let's head to the back.
Yeah, and if we play as fast as we did for the front nine, I don't know if I'll keep up with you.
All right, let's see what you got.